I'm going to go with Orbio.
Yeah.
Since you make me. Yeah, but if we ever do this again, please allow me to have a foursome. I'm okay with that.
You can do whatever you want. I was just asking for a ranking.
Yeah.
Orbio does sound kind of like a vibrator company.
Yeah.
Does it not? Yeah, it does. It does.
Orbio, for her pleasure.
Give me that money!
Hide your kids. Lock the doors. You're listening to HR's most dangerous podcast. Chad Sowash and Joel Cheeseman are here to punch the recruiting industry right where it hurts. Complete with breaking news, brash opinion, and loads of snark. Buckle up, boys and girls. It's time for the Chad and Cheese Podcast.
Welcome to the Chad and Cheese, HR's most dangerous podcast. I'm Chad. I ain't afraid of no ghosts, Sowash.
And I am Emmy Sweaty Betty Berrazugo.
And on this week's show, gross. The respective chats, Snapchat and Anthropic hype machines are set to 11. Startups are leaning hard into AI agents. And will New York really be true to 1984 and Ghostbusters? Let's do this. All right, Emmy. So Portugal finally woke up yesterday, beating Uzbekistan 5-0. They're first, and we were getting ready last week as we recorded. I was all stoked to watch them premiere against Congo and do a good job against Congo. No, 1-1 tie.
How?
Yeah. Spain tied, right?
Yeah.
And then Ghana lulled England to sleep last night in a 0-0 tie after they beat Croatia. They're a hell of a team. They beat Croatia 4-2. What the hell is going on around there?
I got no idea, but to be honest, this is what England does all the time. They come out all guns blazing, and it's almost like they go, yeah, I got this. We're going to win again or get close to winning. Right. And they go into the second game and nothing happens. Nothing. And it's like, wow. I mean, well done, Ghana, but England should have won that game. It should not have been a draw. Yeah.
I got to tell you, I'm not sure that Ghana's ever played that well.
No.
And they meshed. They were aggressive.
Yeah.
They felt like the stronger team in many cases. And I've said it a million times. I believe England has the best talent on the pitch, no matter what team you put out there. Even Paris, or even France, right? Even Portugal, the two amazing teams. Spain, another amazing team. I think England has a bounty, literally an embarrassment of riches, right? But other than that, they just can't put it together.
No, just something seems to go wrong every single time. They actually, let me take that back. They do pretty average in the initial rounds, and then they somehow, maybe it's the luck of the draw, get to the finals. So I'm not gonna shit on them the whole way, but this is like just a continuous thing with England. It's like, I just want to see them go in and all guns blazing for once, not scraping to get to the final stages, Well, but, well done, Ghana. Nigeria's not in it this year. And for anyone who doesn't know, my family's from Nigeria. Yeah. So I suppose Ghana is our, competitive sibling. So maybe I'm like, okay, might be voting for Ghana, instead of England. Who knows?
I mean, see if they get through. We'll see if they get through, right? Yeah. There's still more matches to be played. Yeah. England's going to be fine. They're still at the top of the table in their group. Yeah. So I don't think it's going to be an issue to them. But am I right in saying they have not won a World Cup since 1966?
Yeah, they haven't.
1966. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay.
I know. But as they say, every time we have these competitions, I don't know if you've heard the song, because it's coming home.
Oh, yes.
It's coming home.
Yeah.
It's coming in. Football's coming home.
It does not.
England. Well, yeah, exactly. we get close. We get very close.
So let's carry on the UK, the England football team discussion.
Yeah. So my shout out. I know I just said, maybe I'll go for Ghana, but I think now I'm going to try and stay loyal. For now, I'm still. I'm trying. I'm going to kind of manifest this.
I'm going to try.
I'm manifesting England to go all the way and bring the medals home. And England is so much happier when we win the football. So come on, England. That's my shout out.
Here at the Chad G's podcast, one thing that we love is obviously you watching, but also like and subscribe. Yeah, I mean, yes, I've got to say, from what I've seen in the media thus far, and I'm going to talk about my shout out here in a second. We're going to continue the football shout outs, but this is more American style. But before that, just how much America loves Scots.
Do they?
They love Scots. Oh my God. Yes.
Stephen McGrath's going to love that.
So here's another thing. So the Scots went to Boston first because they were playing Gillette Stadium, Foxborough, right?
Yeah.
And they drank the city dry. They drank the city dry, and they did it and also putting the pylons on the traffic cones, on statues all over the place.
Love it.
They just had a great time. They were great for the vibe of the city and everything like that. Well, then they lost and they had to go down. I think they went to Miami for their next match, and England had to go to Boston, and nobody liked the Brits or the English. Yeah. So it's like, it's really hard to stay up with the Scots.
Yeah. They're proper drinkers and partiers. They're proper
funny as well.
Yeah.
My shout out is to the American Stadium experience. And I know, Emmy, you haven't had an opportunity to do this yet.
No, I haven't. Yeah.
I would like to say that it's great that Europe can experience American stadiums. We have 13 out of the top 20 loudest stadiums in the world. Arrowhead in Kansas City is the loudest and holds the Guinness Book World Record on the loudest stadium in the world. There are jumbotrons, beer, big pretzels, footlongs, and if you want an expensive refill, there's a guy walking up and down the stairs in the stands yelling, "Beer here, beer here." Oh yes, and they're more than happy to give you a nice, cold, expensive refreshment. One thing Europeans aren't seeing, though, is that we didn't use our largest stadiums. That's right. 8 out of the top 10 largest stadiums in the world are in the U.S. They're all college stadiums. They're all college football stadiums. That's right. All of them over 100,000. But at the end of the day, we have a bounty of riches when it comes to sporting stadiums, and we're glad that Europe gets a chance and the rest of the world gets a chance to actually check it out. Hopefully they got in and they didn't get sent home like that referee.
Yeah.
But shout out to Europe getting a taste of the U.S. experience, and we're happy you came, and hopefully you had a great experience.
Well,
it's not over yet. It's not over yet.
Hopefully one day I'll, get to experience it. Can I just say something though? One thing I'm not going to shout out to are these hydration breaks. Chad, I hate
People
them.
are bitching about that left and right.
They're shit. What the hell is that about? I don't understand. Just let the game play.
You can blame the Premier League, because the Premier League actually has hydration breaks when it gets too hot. But the thing is, now FIFA is taking advantage of those hydration breaks for, guess what? Commercial breaks.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Thank God they're not showing those commercial breaks here. But I'm just like, just take this off. This is pointless, And I know, obviously, they're saying, it's hot where they're playing. But these are professional athletes who get paid to do this. You got people like in places like the Middle East, for example, who are constantly playing in the heat. Man up. Play. You should have trained for this. You knew it's going to be in this country. Train for it.
Well, you know what? It's so hot that Steven, for some reason, never wears a t-shirt.
I know.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Stephen McGrath. And I'm here to tell you all about how you can grab some free stuff from chadcheese.com. Now, you might be wondering why I'm sitting here topless. And the answer is really simple.
Yes.
Because I've not grabbed my free t-shirt from Aeronaut at chadcheese.com yet. Let me fix that. Right, that's better. So I'm sporting a slightly vintage model here, but of course there are new and updated designs every year. And those are super soft, breathable, and some might even say huggable. Now, what else can you get? Of course, you can get some craft beer. It's not just any regular rubbish beer. That's craft beer brought to you by the data geeks at Aspen Tech Labs. And if you're not into beer too much, then... Oh, 2 seconds. Just go and get that. Then you can always go for chicken cock, baby. That's right. Not one, but 2 bottles of chicken cock from the lovely people at Proven Base. Now, you're not going to get any of this stuff unless you go to chadcheese.com/free and get yours today.
See, how can you not love that? I mean, that's a Scott for you. I mean, he's talking about drinking the entire time. And
oof, events. Where are we going, boys?
he's also talking about events. Travel is always sponsored by our friends over at Shaker Recruitment Marketing. That's shaker.com. If you don't have an agency of record, what are you waiting for to go to shaker.com? Emmy, you know what's coming up. It's Wreckfest. It's
Wreckfest. One of the
in
best.
Nebworth.
Absolutely. Cannot wait. Cannot wait.
I love it.
Yeah.
July 2nd, we're going to be in England at Nebworth Park all damn day. Joel and I are going to be emceeing the Disrupt stage. And you, Emmy,
I'm going to be
over in Innovate.
Innovate. Yes, that is honestly, what a great stage name. You know, and I've got some great people talking. I cannot wait to host that stage.
Yeah. Same here. And, but before I forget, don't forget July 2nd, got to be in Nebworth, but, also go to wreckfest.com. And if you have not gotten your tickets for Nashville yet, get yourself ready with some tickets to Nashville, because if you're missing UK Wreckfest, you got to go to Nashville. And if you're going to the UK Wreckfest and you have not been to Nashville yet, you got to check it out. And while I say that, I'm asking Emmy, when are you going to check it out? When are you coming to the US?
Do you know what? I think I need to this year. I had FOMO last year. You know, obviously I did the UK one, and then when everybody else was going, I was like, what? Why am I not involved in this? So I think somehow I've got to get myself there.
I think we need to find a way. We'll talk about that after. In the meantime,
topics.
All right, kids, we're calling this the hype block, and I'm going to play a couple of videos and want to have a discussion to say, is this hype? Is this real? Is this true? Is this just hype, and are they blowing smoke up your ass? So here's the first one. We're going to go with Evan Spiegel over at Snapchat.
Okay.
On average, more than 7 hours a day staring down at screens instead of connecting with their friends and staying present in the world. And we think Specs offer a totally new opportunity to bring computing into the world around you and help computing feel more human and more personal. Specs occupy a totally new category of computing. They're both highly wearable, but also incredibly capable for immersive computing. So whether you want to bring a private display on the road with you, whether you want to play games together with your friends, or just use real-world utilities like, navigation or real-time translation, Specs are incredibly capable of bringing computing into the world around you.
Okay. So Specs, talk to me. Do you think the hype is real, or is this just a bunch of smoke? What about Specs?
This is the first time kind of seeing it properly, and I'm not convinced. Obviously Snapchat, what was Snapchat back in the day? I get they're trying to involve, but really they were just like a social media platform for kids, let's have funny, pictures on the top of your head or images at the top of your head. And now they're doing glasses, and it's like interesting moves. Obviously they're trying to compete with the likes of Apple and Meta with their type of glasses.
Yep.
But this whole standalone computer whilst you're walking around type of thing, I'm not sure that's really going to take off. I don't think people know Snapchat for that. And I don't think people are ready in this day and age to be wearing a portable computer on their head. And how much are they?
$2,300 or something like that.
$2,300. No one's going to pay for those.
They're expensive.
I'll put that. I can have an iPad. I can do all that kind of stuff on my phone. I can use my laptop. Why would I want to have a computer while I'm walking around day to day? Maybe I'm a dinosaur, but I think it's crap.
Yeah. So for those not watching the video, they were big, chunky ass glasses, and nobody will wear those boat anchors on their face.
No.
I mean, did you see how big, not just the frames were around the eyes, but the earpieces?
Yes.
The earpieces were huge. And Evan Spiegel, who is a good looking dude, those glasses rendered him unfuckable. He put them on. It was like, that's a good looking dude. He's unfuckable. He's unfuckable. So these feel like Facebook's venture into the metaverse, where they wasted over 80 billion. The big difference is that Facebook is printing money, and they could take a hit like that. Snapchat isn't printing money.
No,
they're not even in the black, for God's sakes. They're in the red. They've invested $3 billion for a boat anchor that
$3 billion. What an absolute waste of money. That explains the price tag, but what an absolute waste of money. You know? Yeah.
Crazy. Okay, we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna I think we're both on the same page with this one. Let's go ahead and let's hear what Dario has to say over at Anthropic.
Okay.
We saw this huge jump. It was a particularly large jump. And without us really prompting them at all, some of the early companies that we gave this to said things like, this is a super weapon. You should have to own a gun license to use it. Please don't release this.
Okay. So super weapon, you should have to get a permit. What do you think? Is he blowing smoke up your ass, or is the hype real?
Do you know what? Do you know one of the things I love about this video is how he's always trying to stay humble. I'm like, my God, other people say this is, a super weapon. You need a gun license to use it. Oh my God, I'm not saying it. Other people are saying how amazing this is. It's like, shut the fuck up.
It's a very Trump thing to do. It's a very Trump thing to do.
God.
Yes. Oh, other people say, sir, you should have a gun license for you.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, this is absolute, this is a PR, it's not a good PR tactic, but it is a PR tactic. You know, the way I look at it is just a way to kind of drive up their valuation, right before they go public with this model. And what it also does is try to create this kind of it's almost like artificial scarcity, you know? So it's like, this product is so powerful that only a few people can have actually access to it. And you know what they're trying to do? They're just trying to attract investors. So do I believe this is a good thing, or do I think this is PR hype? I think it's PR hype. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go with, I think it's real-ish. Do we think that there are LLMs that can find software vulnerabilities that humans have missed for decades? You bet your ass I do. You bet your ass I do. Would a vulnerability into the banking or maybe even the energy grid possibly topple a nation? You bet your ass it would, right? Do I believe we're there now? No. But here's the hard truth that Dario Amodei actually said himself. AGI, he believes, is imminent. But will companies like Anthropic and OpenAI be around when it happens? Because the burn rate of these companies is so high and their monetization models aren't even close to making a dent in their burn. So if they don't continue to raise more and more and more capital and or finally find a way to monetize, they're going to flame out. So yes, I believe right now this is hype to drive more funding and revenues, but it's something real that we're all going to have to prepare ourselves for, because the first thing these algos will be used for is weaponization in the energy grids, in banking, and unfortunately, unlike it was pitched, it's not going to be used to cure cancer.
No, so it's not going to be used for good at all. Yeah.
Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, kids, but that's just no fun. That's no fun. But yeah, I mean, from your standpoint, do you think the Anthropics, especially we saw, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, but we saw the open AIs of the world and their burn rates. To me, it just doesn't seem sustainable.
I think I'd have to actually agree. Yeah, I don't think it is at all either.
I mean, if you're a Facebook and you're printing money, you're a Google and you're printing money, it's almost like they're waiting these startups out. They're waiting them out. They're waiting them to flame out.
And then somebody else is going to come along. Yeah.
Possibly, or they just go ahead and scoop them up.
Yeah. That is happening. All these, companies are getting acquired. So it'll be one or the other. Somebody else will do it better, or, they'll be acquired.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. We haven't done this in a while. It's Who'd You Rather. Let me go ahead and let me set the mood for you, Emmy. So we're in a bar at 2 a.m.
Okay.
And in this case, you have 3 options, 3 sexy startups who want to go home with you, right? So first, now you have to choose which one. First is Slownique. What a name, Slownique.
I love how you say that. Slownique.
Slownique. Who just received 3.6 million euros in Series A. So they have a bank account. Founded in 2019, Czech-Slovak HR startup Slownique has evolved from an HR tool, regional HR tool, into an AI-powered platform serving companies across Europe. Slownique is used by more than 500 enterprise customers across 25 countries, collectively managing HR processes for approximately 50,000 employees. Those numbers don't drive really well, do they? 500. Okay. They don't jive well. Anyway, customers include Grant Thornton, MAN, WPP Media, and Twistio. There we go. That is Slownique. Next we have, let me do it again. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm loving this.
We have Hey Milo, $6 million USD in seed. They're focused on frontline workers through staffing companies. They have customers like Randstad, Wilson HCG, and Neo Financial. Hello Milo provides an AI-driven platform that enables employers, staffing companies, and recruitment process outsourcing firms, that's RPO for you kids, to automate candidate sourcing, screening across voice, video, phone, SMS, and resume analysis. That is Hey Milo. And last but not least, we have Orbio. Ooh, look at that. Thank you. Got a little treat.
Ooh.
Alex sent me a little treat. Orbio, $21 million USD Series A. Holy shit, Orbio. Frontline workers, focused on frontline workers, have clients, Yum Brands, who own Pizza Huts, Taco Bells, and KFCs. Orbio helps interview candidates, assess fit, monitor employee output, and conduct daily check-ins throughout an employee's work lifecycle. Wow, that's a lot. That is Orbio. Who?
Okay.
I say who. Who you going home with, Emmy? Who you picking? Who might it be? Huh?
Okay, so question.
Yes.
Question. Can I take all 3 home with me?
Hey, that's more than a menage a trois, which is what I did a few weeks ago.
There's nothing wrong with a good old foursome. We're in 2026, surely.
It is. Not bad. So who would be your first to take home, and then the other 2 could follow along?
Ooh, okay. Mm-hmm. Can I go in reverse order?
Sure, please.
Yeah, because this is actually quite tough. Because to be honest, I think they all sound good. I would take any one of these 3 home, I think, But since you're making me choose, oh, okay. I'm going to go third place. Third place, I'm going to go with Hey Milo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you want to know why?
Of course. Everybody does.
Yeah,
Everybody does.
Okay. So the thing about Hey Milo, I think the product is good. I think what they're selling is actually good. And I think it actually fits a market need. Okay. Yeah. My worry is that will what they're doing be absorbed by, kind of legacy applicant tracking systems who would just, either be absorbed by them, or will they try to do what Hey Milo is actually doing, and compete because they have deeper pockets, and eventually they'll be squeezed out of the market.
Okay.
So because of that, they're going to go in third place. And then in second place, I'm going to go with Slonique. Okay. So it was tough, I think, between these two. I think Slonique again has a good product. The core portfolio is strong, and I do think they have long-term viability. So, but the reason why I'm going with, how do I say Orbio? Does that sound sexy?
Oh,
Orbio.
yeah. Orbio.
I think why they picked the post is because the people that they're kind of, I suppose, helping is this kind of like frontline workers. There's 2.7 billion people in that market, and I just think there's more return on investment by going down that particular field.
Okay.
So that is the reason why I'm going to go with Orbio.
Yeah.
Since you make me, but if we ever do this again, please allow me to have a foursome. I'm okay with that.
You can do whatever you want. I was just asking for a ranking.
Yeah.
Orbio does sound kind of like a vibrator company.
Yeah.
Does it not? Oh yeah, it does.
It?
It does.
Orbio for her pleasure.
Orbio for her. Yeah, they came out with the Raging Rabbit and all this stuff.
But his and hers pleasure.
Okay, so Orbio is the winner. There we go, kids.
I think so. Yeah.
All right. I do have a little disclosure to happen here.
Okay.
A little disclosure. Actually, this news came out, and I'm actually in talks right now with Hey Milo to be an advisor.
Oh, okay.
So, and let me just, I think personally, the agent space, incredibly smart. What these guys do are incredibly smart. I'll do just a quick rundown of what I like and don't like. Slonique, love it. They've been around since 2019, which means they have their fingers already in the industry. Now they have been really focused regionally, right? And yet I think they're landing and expanding, and they're going to the US and those types of things. I think they need more focus. But I think it's great, especially starting out in Europe. Europe has a hot startup scene. So I really love those guys.
When you say focus, are you talking about geographical focus or
I'm talking about all over the place. Geographical focus. If you take a look at what they're doing, not to mention, take a look at their integrations. Their integrations are Google Calendar, Google Workspace, Jira, Lookup Studio. No mention of integrations to Workday, SAP, iCIMS. I mean, anything that you would want from this space, you would hope that they would have integrations there, but they don't. So, Philip Lucic, I can't say your name right, sir. The CEO, focus on integrations, focus on your TAM there, buddy. Orbio, 21 million Series A. That is a lot of money.
Yeah,
that is a lot of money. I think that's awesome. Yum Brands, they mentioned two companies that they have as client customers, two big companies. One was Yum Brands. That's awesome. Frontline workers, that's exactly where you should be starting.
Yeah, 2.7 billion just as workers.
Oh yeah. Healthcare, that's retail, logistics.
That's 80% of the global workforce.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So I think these guys are great. The problem is that I see company startups get a lot of money who have never been in the space before. They burn quickly because they don't know where to go. Right. And that would be my only caution. I'm not going to say they're doing that or going to do that. That would be my only caution. Hey, Milo, in talking to Sebastian over there, the CEO, these guys are gritty. They don't want to take a lot of money because, which I love, because you got to be scrappy at first, right? And I think one of the biggest problems that we're having in the AI model space right now is they're getting too much money, right? If you take a look at a lot of the China LLMs, they're not getting as much money and they're being more scrappy and they're using worse chips and they're doing more with those things. I mean, they're forced to actually do more with less. And when you do that, you innovate. And I fear that getting a lot of money really hurts a young startup. And these guys, they only got $6 million in seed, which is good, which is very good. The thing that I love the most about these guys, staffing. Randstad, Wilson HCG, staffing. And here's why. Talent acquisition for TA practitioners, that's their job. For Randstad, Wilson HCG, for RPOs, that's their business. They have to do this right. They have to get better. They have to be more efficient. And they need tech to do that. So I think starting with staffing first makes a hell of a lot of sense. Again, I'm biased because I'm talking to these guys, prospectively an advisor sometime soon. But hey, Milo.
Oh, I love it.
All right, kids, we will be right back.
Hello, I'm Omar, founder and CEO of JobPixel. I'm going to talk about two things. Number one is JobPixel. We do short form video content. So if you're a recruitment marketing or employer branding leader, you have to do video content, collect content from your employees. You're going to be able to show impact that you've never seen before. Number two, I would love to talk about People Brain Collective. People Brain Collective is a new organization that just got started by some of the best minds in our industry. And it brings all recruitment marketing and employer branding leaders together in one place to have a conversation about the impact of their work. I promise you, it's something you do not want to miss. So after this video, you'll see a QR code. Scan that QR code with your phone, go to their website and sign up for a membership. You will not regret it. They have amazing people talking about the best topics you'll absolutely love. Thank you, and I can't wait to see you there.
At Shaker Recruitment Marketing, our comprehensive services include branding, talent attraction, MarTech, and analytics, empowering you to achieve your recruitment marketing goals. We believe in doing things the right way, delivering the right message through the right activation, achieving the right conversion. For us, business is deeply personal. Our legacy is built on relationships. Together with our people, clients, and partners, we've been shaping the world of talent for over 70 years.
All right, straight out of this, we're going to talk a little bit about Google, Oracle, blue collar workers, data centers, this straight from the BBC. Oracle shed about 21,000 roles globally in the last year as U.S. technology giant reshapes its business around AI. The firm's latest annual report shows the software and cloud computing firm says it had around 141,000 full-time employees around May this year. And now they're down to about 162,000 workers. The deployment, as you were down for, they're down from 162. So they had 141 down to 100. Down from 162. Jesus. The deployment of AI technologies across our operations have resulted and may continue to result in reductions to our workforce, the report says. The cuts, which amount to about 13% of Oracle's workforce, are part of a wider trend among tech firms as they spend hundreds of billions of dollars on building AI infrastructure like data centers. Wait a minute. Did somebody say data centers? You certainly, that no shit. So last week we talked about Meta's announcement of launching America's Workforce Academy, powered by an initial $115 million first-year investment to develop skilled workers to build data centers. Now, Google wants in on some of those skilled workers to build their data centers. That's right. Google has unveiled plans to invest $50 million. This is chump change for these guys, kids. $50 million in skills trades, training that covers as many as 300,000 jobs across more than 20 states. Wow. The plans mention the likes of electricians, plumbers, pipe fitters, welders, service techs, and sheet metal workers. Emmy, I'm sure you've heard America needs skilled workers. I'm sure the UK needs skilled workers too. Yeah. But do we need that many fucking data centers? Your thought?
What are my thoughts? I don't know. I don't know how many data centers we need, but I do know that the way they're going is both companies, I don't actually necessarily agree with their approach. So, if we look at, you started off with Oracle, 21,000 jobs cut as they embracing AI. That's 30% of their, I suppose, the entire global headcount gone. The optics around it are terrible. They are paying billions into kind of investing in AI, which I totally understand. But what they're doing, they're ruining the company culture. They are ruining company morale. The people they need to actually, because they will need humans to actually, keep developing AI products. They are not going to want to stay there. They're not going to, and if they do stay, they're not going to want to, necessarily produce their best work. And the ones that end up leaving and hopefully get a job in a more morally, morally stable place, if you like, yes. They're going to go with all the institutional knowledge to another organization. So do I think it's the right thing for them to do? No, but this is the way that a lot of tech companies are going. Oracle's not the only one making these mass redundancies. The difference here with Oracle is that do they have the deep pockets that some of the big organizations have? No. So they're almost putting themselves in debt and hoping that these data centers that they're building is going to pay off in the future. So that's my take on the, kind of Oracle situation. And when it comes to Google, spending, spending X amount on, in developing the next set of people to build these data centers, I actually think it's a bit bullshit. On the surface, it sounds good to some extent, because they're thinking, right, I need to get ahead of this. We are investing in these data centers. We are going to have to grow in this particular area, but do they need as many as they say they need? Not necessarily. And the money that they want to put into invest in these people is not even enough. They're putting 50 million into growing the next generation of people going to build these data centers. But when you work it out, it's $166 per worker.
Yeah.
That is, so what are you going to, and they make more. Is this ridiculous? That's not, what is that going to cover? A couple of meals?
Yeah. Good question.
Yeah. So no, I think both of these situations are a bit crap, to be honest.
So, yeah, I think it's great that Google and Facebook are training skilled tradespeople after they're finished building these data centers. That means it won't take a week to get a plumber to call you back. But I believe there's a bigger issue that's coming up more on the macro side of the house. And I think it's time for
a history lesson.
That's right. You're going to love this one. Let's throw it back to the 1980s. The U.S. was absolutely crazy over indoor malls. It was glorious. You could hit the arcade, watch a cheap movie, buy some oversized jeans, and aggressively loiter in a food court, right? Fast forward to today, and 70% of Americans live within driving distance of a rotting, dead mall that's only useful as a set for Stranger Things. Out of 2,500 malls, up to 1,800 are dead or demolished. We got excited, we overbuilt, and the market shifted, right? But because we're humans and never learn, we are doing the exact same thing right now, just at a terrifyingly larger cost scale. Enter data centers. So right now, there are nearly 1,500 new data centers planned and under construction in the U.S. And look, I know I'm oversimplifying here, but this is the mall thing all over again, just with a bigger price tag. They're overbuilding. The tech will shift. What happens then? The shrinking footprint. These places need hardware upgrades every 3 to 5 years. As microchips grow smaller, faster, smarter, and compute gets cheaper, do we really need all that damn space? Or are we just building future paintball arenas? Plus, the local drain on the economies. Data centers are absolutely guzzling electricity, water, leaving local communities to deal with higher bills and murky water. And here's the kicker, folks. Leaked 2025 financial documents showed OpenAI brought in a cool $13 billion in revenue. That sounds good, but they had $34 billion in expenses, which is a $21 billion operating loss. Now, math is hard, but that ain't great. Remember, when we were talking about Dario Amodei earlier in the show, he thinks AGI is right around the corner, but at this rate, will these companies even be alive to see it? If OpenAI flames out, who inherits those giant power-sucking monoliths? One of the answers is Oracle, by the way. Malls were a fad, just like landlines, fax machines, Blockbuster, and Napster. Data centers aren't disappearing tomorrow, but the numbers will dwindle, and we're going to be left with a bunch of high-tech hulking husks. But there's a high note. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. With all the kids realizing tech might not be, there to save them, and they go flooded into the skilled trades instead, at least we're going to have plumbers, electricians, people to actually build shit now. And that was one of the things that we've had problems with over the past few decades. So we're going to get some good stuff out of this, but you got to ask yourself, where are these data centers really going to go? And do we need all these things? And back to your question, I think Oracle's being smart. They're going to watch OpenAI flame out, and they've partnered with them on a lot of these data centers, and they'll just take them over.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Crazy.
There's a beautiful history lesson there. I learned something today.
Who doesn't love a good mall? I mean, when you grew up, and again, different in the U.S., we were very mall centric, right?
Yeah.
It was where we hung with our friends. We went to movies. I mean, it was kind of like the cool kids place to go. And now they're dead because of retail shifts, because of online buying and those types of things. Did you see the same thing when you were growing up?
Do you know what I'll say? It depends on the region. So if I'm looking at the UK, and I, before listeners may know, I've mentioned it before, I lived in the UK, grew up here, and then left the UK, 2008. So if I wanted to go shopping back then, I would go to my local shopping centre. There were two opposite each other. All the shops were there. Yeah. I've come back, and in the 5 years I've been back, all the kind of retail units are empty. It is a dead zone. Everything I need, I can get off Amazon. I can get off like in whatever online shop. So I don't need to leave my house. So for someone who's quite lazy, even better, So yeah, that has happened. Things have changed in the UK. However, like I said, I also lived in Dubai. In Dubai, shopping malls are all over the place. It's not slowing down. Yeah. And it's kind of that way for a lot of the GCC region. And maybe it's because of their model of shopping center, maybe similar to the US. It is not just a place to shop. It's a place to entertain. It's a place to where you can go ice skating, if you like, in the middle of the desert, go skiing in the middle of the desert, go to the cinema, in the middle of a shopping mall. So it's much more than a shopping place, and it's hot outside, so there's AC, so that's why it's a good place to congregate. Yeah,
good call.
But so that's why I say it may depend on where we are in a particular world. Yeah. So I get your idea about the shopping mall idea, but that could be the case with data centers. I mean, do I believe necessarily that we need all the data centers right now? I'm not 100% sure. Do I believe they're taking an aggressive approach rather than a cautious approach because they don't know what we're entering uncharted territory? Possibly, it does look that way. I think we're like just times where we can't predict, so people have to just take a bit of a gamble and hope for the best.
Cross your fingers, kids. All right, this one is straight from Fisher Phillips' website. New York's ghost job bill could reshape job posting practices. What employers should know. Let's listen up, employers. This is for you. New York lawmakers just passed a bill last week that would require certain employers and job posting platforms to disclose whether a job ad is tied to a current opening, and if so, when the employer expects to fill it, or whether the posting is being used to build a future candidate pipeline. The bill targets so-called ghost jobs or postings that appear to advertise open roles, but may instead be used to collect resumes for future hiring needs. The bill would apply to employers with 100 or more employees and certain third-party job posting platforms. If Governor Hochul signs the bill that passed the legislature on June 2nd, in its current form, it will take effective immediately, giving covered employers little time to adjust their posting practices. Emmy, I got to say, it's fitting New York is leading the I Ain't Afraid of No Ghost regulation since Ghostbusters was actually filmed in New York City. What's your take?
To be honest, I like this idea and I'm not surprised by this. And I'll tell you why. A couple of months ago, actually beginning of the year, in fact, I think that's when Ontario, Canada went live with a similar thing. They had a whole bunch of like kind of employment reforms and anti-ghosting and having more transparency with job postings. That went live in January of this year. And because of that, I actually predicted that, yeah, of course, other countries are going to be watching and probably following suit. So, like I said, I'm not surprised. Do I think it's a good idea? Yes. And I think it's great because they're doing more to protect candidates. It is tough out there for candidates and applying for jobs which don't exist. And don't exist because it's a pipeline job, but you haven't made it clear that it's a pipeline job, or you're trying to look like your company is actually growing to the external market. You know, it's great for the organization because they get a ready pipeline of like candidates ready for when they go to hire, and the time to fill will be shorter. But it's a shitty experience for candidates. And why should organizations be doing things to make candidates feel even worse in a crappy market? Yeah. So do I like it? Absolutely. But I still think there are gaps. I know it's still sitting with this governor for a signature. I think there are gaps. I think the immediate turnaround, for example, if this does go live, that doesn't give enough time for companies to prepare. I don't think there's enough, from what I can see, enough guidance on how to really operationalize this, because it's not just a case of saying, hey, you have to use this wording on your job adverts to show that this is actually a live, real job. Technology comes into that. Some people have to configure their technology. You have to train people. And what happens if, let's say, for example, you post a job and hiring timelines change, because they're saying that you need to say how long the job needs to be live for. But people know hiring is not straightforward. Like, you might say that this job is live because we expect to fill it within X number of days. But if the timeline changes because the requirements have changed, what do people do? Does the clock start again? And how do you use technology to show that it starts again? Because you have to have some kind of audit trail, or do you just deactivate the job and post it back live again? So I think there's not enough guidance from what I'm seeing. And it's kind of similar to what I encountered when the Ontario one went live at the beginning of the year. So it's great, but you haven't really truly thought this through properly. And it makes me feel like not enough HR or TA practitioners were actually involved in drafting this bill. So that's where I'm at.
I didn't expect to do this, but I'm going
Time for a history lesson.
So in 2007, as you talk about, things happening quickly. Yeah. In 2007, George Bush shut down the America's Job Bank, and the America's Job Bank was actually created to take jobs and distribute them to all 50 job banks, state job banks, right? Not to mention also to Washington, D.C. and Puerto Rico and so on and so forth. That happened overnight, pretty much happened overnight. There wasn't much lead time. What happened? Scared the shit out of every HR person that was out there. But guess what happened? They came together and they got it fixed, right? I think making excuses for not having enough guidelines is bullshit. We're smart people. This is our industry. We know how to work this stuff. We can figure this out. We can work directly with our vendors to be able to figure out how to actually make these things work easily. The hard part from our standpoint, I think we can make this work as practitioners, HR practitioners. Now, the more malicious side of this is on the job board side, where we're seeing a small amount of job boards scraping jobs off of hiring sites, reposting them on their own job board, and then leading job seekers into scams, harvesting all their data, and never pushing any candidate resumes or profile information back to the actual company they're supposedly representing in the first place. Then the scams can scale through partners where they use vendors like Indeed, Appcast, Google for Jobs, and others that are doing amazing jobs from a distribution standpoint. But sometimes these bad actors slip in. And we've seen that over the past few months, over the past few weeks. Will this legislation be a solution? I think I think every company needs kind of like a shock every now and again to be able to refocus on what they should be doing. And from this standpoint, this is mainly about transparency.
Yeah.
It's mainly about transparency. It's the three different things. Current vacancy to be filled within 90 days. That's on the job. Or current vacancy to be filled more than 90 days. Or no current vacancy, AKA it's an evergreen job, right? We can make this work as employers. I think the hard part and where it becomes a tad onerous is if an employer is unaware or reasonably should be aware, which is a part of the whole bill, that a third party job posting entity independently posted that position. The employer would have to notify that entity, and then they would actually have to get it pulled down. So I think the onerous part is hoping that you can find all of the copies of your jobs out there and then start to manage these bad actors. I'm working with a large group of companies right now. And before this actually came out, this was part of the cleanup crew, you could call it, that they're trying to put in place because they saw it as a problem. So it's not easy, but there are violations and fees. The fees aren't huge. I mean, you're talking about $2,500 per violation, but if you have hundreds of jobs,
then it can add up.
And you're not auditing, plus if you don't rectify it in 30 days, it goes to $5,000. And every other 30 days that you don't rectify, it doubles and doubles and doubles and doubles. So if you're not managing this, this could be a mess for an organization.
Absolutely. And this is why I go back to my point about, I know you're saying obviously we're smart people, but some people don't know what they don't know. So like you said, if somebody's advertising your job again and you just have no idea what's out there, they need guidance. You to go, right, these are the potential things that could happen. These are the routes you can actually go down. It's not just enough to go, this is the law. This is taking effect now. I think it's important to also help people to operationalize this, spot give them a bit of direction on how to actually do this properly and how to make sure they avoid those fines. Because otherwise people could inadvertently, break the law and get fined for something that they didn't actually realize they were violating. So I think one similar.
That's why you need experts in the room. That's why if you're an enterprise company, if you're trying to do this yourself, great. If you think you have the expertise, but you should have experts in the room. Governments do this as a scare tactic. I'm telling you right now, they don't have the resources from an enforcement standpoint to actually go out there and start nailing companies on day one. They don't. So they're doing this as a scare tactic. I've seen it before. That's exactly what's happening. But as soon as they get funding, they will start ramping up enforcement. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I really think companies should take these things serious. This is about transparency. Is it an evergreen job? Is it not an evergreen job, right? People are calling them ghost jobs. They're used for different things, and they have been even before the internet came along. But yeah, that's a scare tactic, and it's unfortunate that there's so much, I guess you could say, misinformation that's out there. You've got all these quote unquote influencers that are saying, well, those are just ghost jobs and that's this. It's like there are different mechanisms for different reasons, for different roles.
It's not all done for malicious reasons.
No,
not at all. And I think just people don't understand that. Or people outside of the industry don't understand that. But I do think that whilst we're waiting, let me take a step back. I think that organizations actually hear this and go, right, okay, what can I do now? Don't just wait, particularly if you're a global organization, recruiting globally. Don't wait for that legislation to actually come in. Start looking at it now, because really, in all honesty, I just think more and more countries, more and more states around the world are going to start doing this. So why not just get ahead of it right now?
Amen. And if you don't, it's going to suck to be you. We'll be right back. Done. I think we'll cover speed and hiring.
Did somebody say speed? Then buckle up, boys. You're about to learn how to hire fast.
Who is that?
Vetty Betty. From Vetty, the hiring acceleration platform. Come on, man, keep up. What's up, Betty?
Hey, Chad. Vetty makes high compliance hiring easy. Background checks, licensing verifications, and health screenings, all in one place. Real-time updates, no red tape, and no delays. Hiring managers can move fast, stay smooth, and close the deal.
So they just sit back and watch. Hell, I could watch this all day.
That's right. Relax, enjoy the view, and don't lose the hire. It's that simple. With Vetty, it's all taken care of before they can even catch their breath.
Best lesson ever.
Class dismissed, boys. Vetty. Hiring as it should be. Visit vetty.co to learn more.
All right, we're going to end the show with a funny one. This one from Business Insider. Last year, the CEO of AI startup Factory took an unusual talent management tactic, buying everyone pricey sleep tech. You heard me right, sleep tech. CEO Martin Grinberg gave every employee a $3,000 mattress cover, not a mattress cover, when the startup had 30 employees. Grinberg compared his employees to professional athletes like NBA players. His engineers need rest. I want to make sure everyone is squeezing out every ounce of brain power they had, he said. To do that, you need to get good sleep. And he's right. You do need good sleep.
Yeah.
The pricey mattress covers, he said, were the right style of benefit. Now, with 120 employees, he hasn't yet gifted the product to Factory's new employees. Shame on you, Matan. He said, but he's considering making it standard issue. Emmy, what is the weirdest perk you got from an employer?
But the thing is, I'm a little bit embarrassed to say this, because obviously we are supposed to be a professional.
It wasn't an Orbeo, was it?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what happened, right? And I was shocked, and I'm pretty unshockable. Uh-huh. So when I was leaving the UK, I was actually working for a recruitment agency at the time, and I was like, right, I'm going to Dubai in 2 weeks' time. And, my work colleagues gave me a massive box, and I was like, oh my God, what is it? Thinking it's something really special. I unwrapped it, and it was a blow-up sex doll. Called I wasn't far. I wasn't far. Oh yeah. And his name was Mario, with a mouth like this, a big open mouth. You can imagine what's supposed to happen. I was oh my God. Obviously I'm still working in the recruitment world, and that's like, excuse me? It's like, you're not supposed to give me presents like this when we work in our area. It was hilarious. I had it for about 6 years. It sat on my, Mario the blow-up sex doll, sat on my exercise bike. I used to get people coming around to kind of do stuff in my house, and they go, what is that? And I was like, this is exactly what you think it is. So yeah, that is the weirdest thing I've ever received.
Okay. It's, this is going to make mine even more weird. So, it wasn't a blow-up doll. I did not get a blow-up doll. So the weirdest perk was going on a President's Club performance trip when I was at Monster.com.
Okay.
Monster was the cool kid on the internet block at the time. And the trip was hosted by P, which is now Radency. CEO Andy McKelvey, who flew all the way to, he flew us all the way to Florida to play golf at one of his golf courses. That was cool. But where it got weird is that after we got done golfing, we went back to the hotel room, we got showered, ready for dinner, had dinner. It was great. And then Andy took us all to the after party at a strip club.
I knew you were going to say that.
It's already weird going to a strip club with the CEO of the company that owns your company, but it's even more weird when you're having drinks at the strip club with your very religious female boss.
Oh no. Oh my God. What did she say?
We didn't say anything. We just had an awkward glance and didn't look at each other in the eyes the entire time. I went to the other side of the room and I got away. Yes.
I'm out.
Exactly.
She's probably thinking, like, pray to Jesus. He's like, bless me with holy water. It's like, cleanse me with holy water.
And that being said, I think that's better than any dad joke. Joel Free June is coming to an end. If you're watching the World Cup, hope your team does well. If you're not watching the World Cup, watch the World Cup. All these countries are coming together. It's great to watch this happen. And go Portugal.
Portugal, go England.
We out.
Out. See ya. Bye-bye.
Later.
Thank you for listening to, what's it called? A podcast. The Chad. The Cheese. Brilliant. They talk about recruiting. They talk about technology. But most of all, they talk about nothing. Just a lot of shout-outs of people you don't even know. And yet you're listening. It's incredible. And not one word about cheese. Not one. Cheddar. Blue. Nacho. Pepper Jack. Swiss. So many cheeses and not one word. So weird. Anywho, be sure to subscribe today on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. That way you won't miss an episode. And while you're at it, visit www.chadcheese.com. Just don't expect to find any recipes for grilled cheese. It's so weird. We out!